There's a reason not everyone resonated with Tron Legacy. I would almost call this movie a cult classic because it never hit the world the way it was supposed to. It was a sequel to a movie that other generations had never heard of and is probably one of the most sci-fi based movies that Disney has ever put out. I often wonder if slapping Disney on the title affected this movie's perception. The PG-13 Disney movies we had received up to this point were action adventures with a lighthearted tone that fit Disney's brand. Tron Legacy is a movie with dread and no sense of hope. It's a movie about a boy that just wants to see his father again, and a man that let his creation keep him from living a life with his son. It's a dark, dystopian world with sci-fi elements that just wouldn't work for everyone. It throws a lot of terms at you regarding users, programs, ISOs, dank memes, and all the things that may sound like a bunch of jargon to your average viewer. But I think this movie was something special and ahead of its time. It may not be perfect, but there is something unique there that deserves a deep appreciation. First off, this score is not talked about enough. We don't often get artists to compose the score of a movie, but this was such a genius decision to hire Daft Punk. This futuristic EDM music is just the perfect fit for a video game world. At times we get the EDM music, and at other times we get something akin to Hans Zimmer that makes this movie feel epic and suspenseful. Although there isn't a whole lot of licensed music in Tron Legacy, the scene of Sam walking into the arcade to the sound of Separate Ways by Journey makes me want to run through a brick wall. And that brings me to the world itself. It has this cyberpunk Blade Runner aesthetic, but it still feels unique on the surface. I just think the overall look and feel of this movie is unlike any other. The use of light to illuminate this dark atmosphere makes for a really neat look that feels so different from the original. I can only imagine how much hard work went into the set design. And I gotta use a word that I thought I would never use, and that word is aura. I know it's thrown around everywhere nowadays, but when I watch this movie, that is the first thing that comes to mind. The shots here are beautiful, and there's moments that make our characters look and feel badass. A movie that involves people in glowing suits throwing laser discs should not look cool, but it does. Almost every shot has this aura, and it has the director's stamp with some of these slow motion sequences. Wait, who even directed this? Oh shit, it's the guy that did Top Gun Maverick and F1. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense as to why this movie has the sauce. In terms of the characters, no one really stood out to me, but I don't think that mattered as much for a movie like this that depends on its unique atmosphere, action, and story. Sam is basically a plot device, so we have a reason to revisit the world of Tron and see this world for the first time through his perspective. He's basically a super cool hacker that rides a motorcycle. He has the same tone and facial expressions for most of the movie, and honestly I didn't mind it. He feels like an 80s character that was just meant to be the cool guy. And in a weird way, this feels like an 80s movie. So a character like this doesn't really feel out of place. I also have to give Sam props for going into a video game and leaving with a goth girlfriend. You know how many nerds would dream of that situation?
This is outrageous. It's unfair.
But I think the story of Flynn is far more compelling. Flynn was so focused on perfecting the world he created that it backfired on him and caused him to lose the things that really mattered. The creation of Clue is also just so intriguing because he's fueled by his purpose, which has slowly become an obsession. I also love that they weren't scared to make Flynn feel like he hadn't left the 80s. It can be a little corny at times to hear an old Jeff Bridges say things like radical, but it's what you would expect from someone that never got to keep up with the times. Look, it's not a perfect movie by any means, and I see why it didn't click for everyone. The movie doesn't always take the time to explain itself or flesh out the story further because it would have taken too much time. It does feel like there's a bit more to be desired from the Flynn and Clue storyline because we had to spend so much time bringing Sam to this world. It had the job of being a sequel to the original and a fresh start for new audiences. Tron himself is a character, but we barely got to see that relationship and witness his downfall. At a certain point you forget that character even existed. We know that Flynn's creation could change the real world and be the cure, but we barely delve into that. And maybe the CGI Jeff Bridges just wasn't for everyone. It felt like a huge leap in technology at the time, but maybe it was too soon, as we live in a time where people can do a better job with deepfake technology. I know it probably sounds like I don't like this movie, but those flaws don't hinder my enjoyment of it. I often wonder if these flaws are what kept us from getting an immediate sequel. To me, the pros far outweigh the cons, because when I think of Tron Legacy, I think of the aura, the world, the games, the story, and the most epic score this movie could have possibly had. So good, it caused us to get 9-inch nails in Tron Ares. Tron Legacy is a nerdy 80s movie with modern day technology, and to me that's something special. It makes complete sense that it came from the guy that brought back 80s movies to a modern era. So if you were to ask me, do you love Tron Legacy? My answer is...
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe for more. I'm currently working on more video essays, and I also have a podcast called the Cinecast on Spotify. Chances are I'll review Tron Ares on there pretty soon, so be sure to check that out in the link in the description below. So yeah. Bye!